Thank you, Ria. Good afternoon, everybody. Welcome. Thank you for joining us. This is a support session for GCSE and A-level drama teachers using the Learner Work Transfer platform, LWT, this year. The idea of today is that we talk you through how to use the platform, where to get all the forms from the website. Most of you will have been using this for component 2 already, but it's really just to make sure that you're okay with using it and in preparation for component 1, which will be available for you to upload your work from the 15th of April. My name is Paul Webster. I am the subject advisor for drama and performing arts qualifications at Pearson. Hello to you all. Joining me today are some lovely colleagues of mine. We've got Saron, who is one of the teaching services managers. And if you've ever called into us, you may have spoken to Saron. She's very helpful and friendly. And Saron will be able to help with any technical queries that you may have had. If it's very specific to your centre, that it may be something that we need to take some more details about and ask you to contact us separately so we can help you. Also joining us today is Sam Prince, who looks after our drama qualifications. She's the product manager, and Sam will also be able to help in regards to some of the content around the forms and the kind of things that you need to fill out. So what we would like, if possible, is if you do have any questions as we go through the session, if you could put them into the group chat rather than into the Q&A, so just so that everybody can see them, because it may be a question that you've got on your mind but someone else is asking. So it's probably the best way to manage it. But hopefully what will happen is I'll guide you through this and everything will be really straightforward, and you'll feel a bit more confident about using the platform. We are fully aware that there's been some issues with it for some of you, and we can only apologise for that, and hope that we've been able to help you with any issues that you've encountered so far. This is the first time that we've ever used a platform like this, and there's just been some kind of technical issues around some of the file sizes in terms of uploading some documents according to where you are and broadband speeds and things like that. Now, not everybody has experienced these issues, it's just some centres. So we hope that if you are here today and you've had some problems, that we've been able to help you. If not, then please do get in touch with us. Obviously today this is a walkthrough of the process and how to use it, so we may not be able to get through all specific issues as such, but we are here to help you. So let's begin with the agenda, and this is what we're going to be looking at today. We are going to go through the process of how you get onto the system, how you find your components, preparing your work for upload via the LWT system, how you can add students, upload materials, share files, remove things and submit the work, how it's managed after submission, the type of formats that you can use, and any useful links that we can put you in touch with in regards to our very detailed FAQ documents, our videos, and of course any questions that you have that you want to send through to us that hopefully we'll be able to help with you, deal with whilst you are on the call. So we have introduced LWT for the non-examined assessment components, which are also known as NEA, and they are components 1 and 2, and hopefully that this is the process that we'll be following from now on, but we will see at the end of this exam series how successful it's been. The idea is that it's all the information is put into one place, so it makes it easier for you as teachers to be able to share your work for moderation and examination with your examiners, and then the examiner, and it's just a one place where everything can be found, rather than using the postal system, or rather than using different types of drives like Google Drive or Microsoft Drive. So that's the idea, that it's just one central place where everything can be found. Now, you will have access to LWT via Edexcel Online and be able to upload all the material for submission. Now, you need to speak to your exams officer about your basic access for Edexcel Online, because if it's not set up, then you won't be able to use it. So before you do anything, then you will need to speak to them to just make sure you've got the right access given. So to get started, you need to go to the qualification page for either GCSE drama or for A-level drama and theatre. And once you are on there on the qualification page, please select at the top the course materials button, and then select forms and administration, which is on the left-hand side in the filters. And you'll need to download two documents, which are the Administrative Support Guide for 2022 and also the Learner Work Transfer Guidance documents, and then whichever forms you're going to be using for either Components 1 or 2. So for GCSE Drama, for Component 1, first of all, you need the ASG and the LWT guidance, and then you will also need the following forms. The assessment materials checklist, which will just really cover everything that we've got here to make sure that you are submitting the right things to your moderator. And then you are going to submit one of the following information sheets, so the CCIS forms. Now, if you're using the Word version, that is one per student, okay? So if, for instance, you have in the sample, you've got 10 students who are being sampled, then you will submit the 10 Word forms for those students. If you are using either the interactive or the simple version of the form, it's an Excel sheet, then you will put all the students' details on there and their grades, but you don't need to put any comments on there for those students who aren't being moderated. So if you are, in terms of your marking, you will put the marks on, all of the marks onto Edexcel Online. So we're asking that if you use either the interactive or the simple versions, that you also put the marks for those, for all the students as well, onto those forms. You'll also be completing an NEA authentication sheet as well for Component 1, which is really just to sign off that the work is the students and that you've assessed it. There's also the recorded performances that you're going to be submitting for monologues, duologues or groups. There's the portfolios for those students who are being sampled that you will submit. There's an email from either myself or from Drama Assessment about the use of non-assessed individuals. And if you have any design students, then there will be the additional design evidence as well that you would submit to us via LWT. For Component 2, which most of you will have done this already, but it's really just to ensure that you are okay with this, as well as the ASG and the LWT guidance, there would be the assessment materials checklist for Component 2. There's the intentions for your students, one each. There's either the candidate information sheet, which is one per student, or there's the centre information sheet, and that's one across the whole cohort. So obviously slightly different for Component 2 because it's all students that are being assessed, and all all evidence needs to be submitted for every single student. As well as the forms, there's the recorded performances of the monos, the duos or the groups. There's the email about non-assessed individuals if you've used any, and there's also the additional design evidence. just so that you're aware, in case you didn't know this, if something happened during the Component 2 exam and one of the students didn't turn up, and you needed to use a non-assessed individual, that's absolutely fine. Just get in touch with either myself or with the drama assessment team, and we can provide retrospective permission for that. Also now, again, if for Component 1, if you are getting the work together, if the students still haven't done it and they're going to do it now or after Easter, then again, you may need to request the use of a non-assessed candidate. For A-level, it's exactly the same. So it's all those forms that we just went through. So hopefully that is clear for you all. Now, in terms of accessing the Learner Work Transfer platform, you do this via Edexcel Online. As I said, if you haven't got the access, you need to speak to your exams officer. They will provide you with basic access. So you don't need anything special. You don't need to say, I need Learner Work Transfer. You just need to say, I need basic access to Edexcel Online if you don't have that already. I'm sure that many of you already do, because you're able to download padlock materials from our website. So if you have that access, there shouldn't be a problem with accessing LWT. You'll know if there's a problem when you go on to Edexcel Online and you click Learner Work Transfer, and it either says something like access denied, or it will just go to a blank screen, or there will be an error message. I had someone contact me today who was saying that they had some very peculiar messages on the screen, and it's because they don't have the right access set up for them. So please speak to your exams officer if you encounter any problems. So when you go onto Edexcel Online, you don't need to select a qualification. On the left-hand side, you go to Learner Work Transfer on the menu, and then you will be given two options: the standards verification, which is not for you, that's for BTEC qualifications, or there's examination and moderation, and that's the one that you want. Now, what you need to make sure is that pop-ups are enabled on the machine that you're working, and in order to do that, it's in the top right-hand corner of the screen. So there should be an option up there, probably 3 dots, that you can open in terms of your settings, and there will be some reference to pop-ups. So this is a regular problem that some teachers encounter, where if they're using Edexcel Online, a new screen appears with information, but because pop-ups aren't enabled, you're not able to see it. So please make sure that you've done that. Okay, so you will then enter the LWT dashboard, and you will see that there are 3 tabs at the top: to do, in progress, and completed. So if you are doing a new request, then you would go in to do. If you are already halfway through a submission and some things have been uploaded but you need to do more, or the work hasn't been submitted, then you go to in progress. And if it's been submitted, then you go to completed, and you will see all the files and documents that you've uploaded that are read-only and can't be edited. You will also see on this screen, underneath to do, in progress, and completed, examination or moderation. So you need to select the one that is applicable to you. Obviously, you're all doing C2 at the moment, so you're going to do examination, which is on the left-hand side. There's also a search box. You can use this to narrow the components that are visible, or to find the exact component. But I think for that's if you're doing a lot of work, if there's a lot of different courses that you're running and things. So I think for all of you, at the most, there would be 4 on here, so 2 for A-level and 2 for GCSE. Now, on the underneath, you will see, because here we've selected examination, and this is for A-level component 2. It would look exactly the same for GCSE, just slightly different codes. And what you need to do is you need to use the 3 dots on the right-hand side to give options for the component, or to enter the component to upload material. So those 3 dots are very useful, because they will give you the information that you need. When you click through then, there are 3 LWT sections where material can be uploaded in the component. The first one is about administration material, and this is at cohort level. What I would advise you to do is in that one that you stick things like the non-assessed individual permission emails, things like that. When it comes to the majority of stuff, you can put into the shared files, and I would advise you to put the majority of stuff in there. And the reason why is because if you put things into the administration material, you cannot then link to any particular students. But if you put them into the shared files, you can then link directly to students. So for example, in the shared file section, if you were to put in the videos of group or duologues, you can put it into the shared files, and then you can then link to particular students, so that under the student's name and on the screen you can see there's 2 examples of students underneath the shared files folder. You are then able to see the files that have been connected to their name. Now you might also, as well, if you've used one of the Edexcel forms, the centre information sheet, you might also want to put that into the shared files as well, because then you can link it to the student name. You could put it into the administration material, but you might be best placed to put it in the shared files. You know, it's one or the other, but probably best to put it into the shared files. In the shared files as well, you can put the extracts as well for the group work or the duologues if you've got any, because then you can manage that and link it to the particular students, and I'll show you how to do that in a moment. In the student section, this is where you can upload materials for a particular student. So it might be here that you put the intention in. It might be that you put the mono videos. It might be that you put the CAS form if you've used the Word one, which is 1 per student. It may be that you put in there the additional docs for designers and the mono extracts. Now, I'm saying this like you could, and the reason why I'm saying it like that way is you could put all of the stuff into the shared files document, and then you make the links to the individual students. So it's up to you. There are a couple of different approaches here that you might want to take. That was for component 2, by the way, what I've just covered there. For component 1, it would be the same. So again, in the cohort level, you could put the CIS forms, or you could put them into the shared files. There's the permission emails that you could put into the administration material, the shared files, the videos of groups, etc. And then for the students, there will be, you can put in the mono videos, the Word CIS forms, the portfolios, of course, and the additional docs for designers. Again, as with component 2, you can put this into all of it into the shared files folder, or you can drag them into the individual student folders. Entirely up to you. So we now move on to managing learners, the first section of this, and this is specifically for component 1. So when you're able to get in to put your samples in, and this will be from the 15th of April that you can start to upload your component 1 work, you just need to make sure that the right students are in there. So the information about your samples, if you are doing A-level, then we select the samples. They are on they will be on Edexcel Online, which students are going to be sampled. If you're doing GCSE, then you will select the samples. And if you've never done it before, the information is in the admin support guide about how you select the students. So you're selecting a range, including the top and bottom. Basically what you can do on here is that you can add students if needed, or take them away according to who is on the list in terms of who is being moderated for your particular component, for component 1. For each student, you can select if they were present, absent, or there is no evidence. Let's hope that for the majority, if all of them, that they're going to be present, so that you are able to upload the work for component 1, and if they're in the sample. You will only be able to upload material for those marked present. You will not need to add anything for students marked absent or no evidence, and you'll be able to submit the request. For those, you may have been in a situation where for component 2, there was students missing, and they weren't able, like you had a visiting examiner and there was a student missing, and you used a non-assessed student to stand in. Just so that you know that you can still submit recordings of the missing students if, for instance, they were ill with COVID or isolating or whatever, that you can do that up to 7 working days after the exam has taken place. The deadline for submitting everything for component 2 is the 15th of April. So if there are any issues, like the student, it was 8 days, then just get in touch with us and I'm sure that we can work something out. If the student doesn't return and isn't able to do the recording, then you can submit a special consideration request for them. That's absolutely fine. We are fully expecting for there to be quite a few of those coming through. Now, in terms of uploading files, you can do it in a number of ways. You can either drag and drop the file into the grey area for each candidate or into the shared files, or you use the browse option to navigate to the files and then it's on your file explorer and then you can do it that way. Files are then checked to make sure they're in an accepted format and aren't password protected. And this will result in files being accepted or rejected. Now, if it's a small document and if it's a form, then it will be within a matter of seconds. If it's a shortish video, then it shouldn't take too long. Some videos are taking quite long, especially if they are in HD. So if you are in a situation where you have recorded HD, then you're going to have to accept that some files will take quite a long time to upload to us. But you can navigate away from the check as it continues in the background. You can continue to upload files while others are in the process of uploading. You don't have to wait, so you can throw them all in at the same time. You don't have to do them one by one. Files can be removed by clicking on the X next to them. So I was just talking there about attaching them for the students, but you can also do it in the grey area for the shared files section as well. And the files are checked in the same way as if you'd done it for the individual students. Once accepted, you'll be able to link the file to the student. So as I was saying before, if this was a group piece and you had uploaded a video of 4 of the students, what you can do is you can then drag it into the shared file section, and then using the 3 dots on the right hand side of the blue heading, you open that and select Manage Shared Files. You select the file from the drop down list. So in this, for instance, as you can see on the screen, it's got C2 group, and you open that and then you can select which students are in that group. You tick them and then you press save. So that means that when you then go back to the previous screen where you can see all your students, you will see that underneath the student files, you can see that there is the video. And you can see the icon. There's a group icon next to the file, and that means that it's in the shared files section. A little tip, if you are having any problems, and this is from one of our senior moderators who suggested this, that if files are rejected, if you rename them with an _2 at the end, it worked for him. He managed to get them all through where some had been rejected. So you can try it, see if it works. If you still continue to have any problems whilst you're trying to upload work, like it gets rejected and you don't quite understand what the error message means, then please contact us and we will do our best to help. It may be, and we hope that we can deal with most, if not all, queries when you're calling us or via email. In a couple of instances, it has actually been a technical issue that we've had to get our IT team to help with as well, but hopefully it won't get to that stage. Because of all the myriad situations that we've had for Component 2, we've now got much more comprehensive FAQs, and we really hope that through the Component 1 process, you're not going to have potentially as many issues, and if you do, we will be able to help you much quickly and better than before when you contact us. So in terms of submitting the work, there is a big orange button labeled Submit Request, and that's always available. And whenever you are ready to submit the request, that will send all the work that you've uploaded to that point to your examiner or your moderator. If there are any issues with the submission, an error message, which you can see here, will appear on the screen. And we ask that you follow those instructions to rectify those issues. Hopefully it will be relatively straightforward, but these are all the reasons why there would be a problem with submitting your request. After you've submitted work, if you've made a mistake, or if there's something that's come to mind, so it may be that your moderator or examiner contacts you and says, could you address this? Could this change, etc. You can ask them to return the request. And once they do this, it will move into the In Progress tab with the status returned, and you will be able to add and remove files. Let's imagine that you had lots of students and you'd submitted lots and lots of work. If you request them to return the work, it doesn't mean that you have to upload everything again. Everything will remain with us. It's just those files that you either need to add or remove and replace. So don't worry about, oh, goodness me, I've now got to spend another X number of hours uploading it all again. It's only the ones that are affected. If you have made the mistake and you haven't been contacted by your examiner or moderator, then and you need to know the details, then let us know. So if you don't have the details and you want to confirm something or whatever it would be, then contact us. The best team to go to is the drama assessment team, drama.assessment@pearson.com, and they should be able to put you in touch with the examiner or the moderator. And if, as I said, if the moderator examiner thinks that a mistake has been made, then they will return the request to you, and they will contact you explaining potentially what the issues are. These are the formats that are accepted, and in terms of images, audio, video, etc. And there are other file types that are allowed too. There's been a couple that we've been contacted about, which is really kind of 4D detail in terms of the recording, which the centres have had some issues about because they're just so big. And so if in doubt, we suggest that if it's huge, because the largest file type is 8 gigabytes, but some of the recordings that have been done, because they're in such high definition, are even larger than that, which is quite incredible. But there are converter files that can be used to reduce the size of it and allow it to be accessed. So if you have recorded it on something incredibly sophisticated that could be projected in high D onto a large screen, that we would suggest that using converter software is going to be the best thing to do. We've put proprietary files for doors can't be uploaded with the file extension, and you'll need to create a zip file for these and upload the zip file instead. So here are some useful links for you. The first one is the FAQs. Now, as I said, this set of support has really increased in the past few weeks in terms of the level of detail that it goes into. We know that sometimes it can be a bit overwhelming when you've got loads and loads of troubleshooting questions and things to go through. So again, if in doubt, don't worry about getting in touch with us. We can help you with that. But there are significant FAQs. So we are going to share the slides with you after this, so you should be able to get through to that page. We've got the learner work transfer guidance documents, which are on our either GCSE webpage or the A-level webpage that you can have a look at. I think my colleague Sam may have said that we're going to update those guides with the information that's in this presentation, so we'll do that over the next week. We'll also make sure that this presentation and this recording is available. We've got some guidance videos which work in a similar way to what we've just done here. It walks you through them, but they're not drama specific, but they're still useful if you want to have a look at those. And of course, you can contact us. So on our webpage, on the Pearson qualification webpage, in the top right hand corner, there is a contact us section. If you select that and select teachers, then you will be able to get through to us. You can call us, you can email, you can live chat. Here are my details, and you've got my, hopefully you're fully aware of my email address. You can get through to us that way. The telephone number to call is 0330 016 4141. There's a community page on our website that you can use where you can ask questions. I'm on Facebook, on the Facebook groups as well for GCSE and for A-level drama, which I don't run, but some lovely teachers do, and they do it very well. So I'm sure that you're all aware that you can tag me there, and I'll get back to you as soon as I can. And I'm also on Twitter, so you can at me, Pearson Perf Arts, and you can also direct message me as well. So we have come to the end of the presentation. I hope that you have found this useful. If there are any outstanding questions, we can look at them now. Saron or Sam, are there any outstanding questions that we could go through, or is everything okay?
I think it might just be pointing out there's quite a few people asking about sample sizes for C1, and there are different sample size rules. It's quite hard to say at GCSE and A-level, but they are in the ASGs, the Administrative Guides. So it's best to check there, and then if anything isn't clear, to get back in touch with yourself.
Yes, that's good advice. Thank you. It's usually
yeah. Sorry, go on, Karen.
No, I was just going to waffle. You've said everything. Thank you.
We clarified about the access to LWT and Edexcel Online and what access you needed. So that was then. There was a question about showing if more than one teacher has been marking the work to show that standardization has happened. We still require that. And we do have some instructions around that in the ASG, I think, and in the LWT. So if you've done annotations on the portfolio itself, you just scan that in with your handwritten annotations on, or you might have done it in a different capacity. And I think we do have some guidance on how you do that electronically, if you wanted to capture that electronically rather than handwritten, or even if you did them on a separate bit of paper. And I think they could use the CCIS as well to capture that. So just as long as you show that there has been standardization going on, yes, we need to see that evidence.
Yeah, it's a good point, Sam. And I think for those of you who aren't in a centre with more than one teacher, it's fine if the work hasn't been standardised. So if it has, absolutely capture it however way you can that's clear. But if it hasn't happened, it is not a requirement. So please don't worry, because I have been contacted by a few teachers recently who have been concerned about this. And if you're on your own, there is no requirement for it to happen.
Then the other thing was, I'm not sure if do we have to upload things for C1 and C2 in a particular order? Can I snip?
Absolutely.
No. You can submit the docs in whatever order you want, because it'll all be going into one pot or one basket, whatever analogy we want to use.
Well, if it goes into the shared files, it doesn't matter what order they go in, because the examiner. And you can
zip things or do them individually. That came up as well in the group chat. Perfectly fine to zip all the intentions together. That's fine.
Yeah, I would say that if possible, to submit them separately. So rather than zip them, that if you, for instance, have the file explorer on your screen and you just highlight them all and just drag them in, then they'll be put in as separate files, and that would be the best and most efficient way to do it.
We've just been asked if you could put your contact details back up on the screen. Could you go back?
I think they're up there. Can you see them?
They're up. They're still up on the, yes, they're pushed up. Yes, excellent. Question from Joe. Hello. I haven't said hello. Hello, Joe. I should have said hello to all those other people who've been asking questions. Do students need a CIS each, as well as submitting the whole cohort sheet? That is for C2, I think.
So for C2, for C1, you make the choice about what you want to do. So if you want to use the interactive or the simple version of the form, that is one for the centre and all the student details go on that. If you want to use individual Word CIS forms, then it's just for those students who are in the sample that you would do that for. So you don't have to use the centre form and the student form. You choose whichever one you want to use.
But for C1, the authentication forms, we do need that at an individual student level, because that's their individual authentication. That's right.
Yes.
Joe also asked, so can the paperwork be done first and the recordings at another time? I think that's a yes.
Yeah, so the thing is, Joe, if, for instance, you... so with Component 1, it opens on the 15th of April. If you'd finished your paperwork first... and you wanted to put it on, you can just stick it on because it just sits there. And then when you're ready, like 2 weeks later, you can then submit the recordings. When everything is on there, that's when you would press submit. So it's not a problem to do them at different times.
There was a couple of queries about people being off in isolation for COVID, obviously still an issue. So Lucy had this question, and I think her student had done her recording without the teacher present, and that isn't following the rules we have. So advise them to get in touch with drama assessment to see if perhaps the special considerations would be the best. Because obviously, I think I'm right in saying, Paul, that the closure for doing digital recordings was the 30th of April, if I remember that correctly.
For which?
Just trying to remember all the dates now.
Is that for Component 2?
I think
okay, so
C2,
yeah. So the final submission date for Component 2 is the 15th of April. And
so because Easter is coming up, so perhaps the advice is, if you do have any candidates that go off isolating and they need to do the recording from home, you need to make sure that you are present during that recording.
Yeah, so that's right. Yeah, so we what you would need to do if they're going to do it is in rather like this, where it's you as the audience are watching it live rather than it being recorded and then submitted to you. So if you, for instance, you were doing it through, I don't know, through Zoom, that the meeting that you're having where the student is performing, you record it, and then that is the thing that's submitted.
So it may be because Paul Lucy says they'd finish tomorrow. So it may be if you can't arrange with that student to do it with an Easter again, get in touch with Drama Assessment, and they can either see if they will give you a little extension, or I think special consideration is the best way. I think that's probably the advice there.
I think it's probably most likely to be the special consideration, to be honest. I think Joe just responded there about, Joe, it will, if you put them on, if you upload them, they then sit there and they're not sent to the examiner or moderator until you press the big orange submit button.
Brilliant. Sinead also has a question. So extracts can be scanned, ? Should they have candidate deals written on them, or should they go straight into the student files? I think in our filing, in the naming convention, we put the candidate, the groups on there, I think, isn't it? I'm trying to remember this.
Well, if you, right. I mean, the easiest thing to do is, if in doubt, what you do is you upload it to the shared files section. So you upload the intention, and then you link it to the student or students who are doing that intention or that extract.
It was the extracts. So for the extracts, they can just say upload group 1's extract and just label it group 1, I think, and then
label it group 1, and then link it to those students through the manage shared files section.
So I hope that. And got another question from Joe. So I'm a little confused by the student files. Does each student have a file and then their recording intention and get put in that individual file? Sorry for the silly question. No question is a silly question. This is what this event is all about. So thank you very much for the questions. Did that make sense to you? Can you see that question in the group chat, Paul? Yeah, so basically, again, what I would say to, please never apologise. It's quite a lot to get our heads around. So if in doubt, just put everything into the shared file section. And then when you go to manage shared files, you would click the recording for a particular student, you would highlight it in the files, and then you would scroll down, find their name, tick next to it and press save. That will then show for that particular student, that particular file. So if in doubt, just put them all in there, put them all in the shared files, and then link them through the manage shared files section. But if it goes wrong and you are trying to do it and it's not working out as you thought it would, and you've used all these instructions, then just get in touch with us, because we can talk you through it. It's fine. Just had a question through Alicia on the Q&A, so asking about the authentication form. Does it need to be signed handwritten by the student or signed electronically? It can be both, and obviously if you do the handwritten, then it will be scanned. The signed electronically, there are instructions in the end, in the appendix, in the learner work transfer guidance documents about how to do it electronically, but you need to make sure there's a time and user stamp. And it does give instructions how to do that. So I hope that makes sense, that your user would have to make sure that their name appears on it. So it's not like anybody could just write in, Sam Prince. It's got to have to be sort of user and time and date stamped, I think, on the instructions given in there. I hope I'm saying that right and remembering what's in all these documents we have.
Hiya, we've got a question from Matthew. He's asking, he has a verbal portfolio that's been recorded, but it's been saved as 2 files on the camera. For C2, it did the same. The examiner said upload both. Would that be the same for the verbal portfolio?
Yeah, so because basically, it would be the same if you were sending it by disk or pen drive or however. If it's in two files, then upload them both. And if that means that you add a little bit onto the end of the file name, to like part 1 or part 2, or V1 or V2, however you do it, that should be absolutely fine. Because if you upload them both and they're linked to that student or they're in the student section, then it will be clear that it's both the files that are relevant.
A couple of other ones. David's asking, he's having issues uploading his C2 video files because they're too large, even in zip format. So I'm not great with IT That's perfectly fine. So it should contact Pearson. So yeah, any problems with uploading, get in touch with us, and we'll see what we can do to help to get a fix. And I saw that Saron has answered that. And then Matt has just asked that students have sent their extracts in using their phone, so they've got separate images. So can they upload them as extract page 1, 2? That's fine. If you want to zip them all together, so then it's like, you know, monologue 2, this is all their extracts, that's fine. But if they go up as individual ones, just as it's clear about the order, I think that's fine. Paul, is that okay?
Absolutely, absolutely fine, yeah.
And I'm not sure if there's anything else on the group chat.
No, I think it looks like everybody is okay in terms of the questions. If there are any more queries that you have, please don't hesitate to get in touch with us. You will get a copy of this recording, and you've got the slides. You've got all our details. So at this point, I'd like to thank you all for joining us today. I hope it's been useful and you've got all your queries answered. Have lovely evenings, and we hope to see you all soon. It is.
Oh, sorry, Paul. Just the last minute.
Oh, yes. Is it too late to
sorry,
arrange? Sorry,
Greta. Just on a last-minute question. I don't think it is.
Yeah, I think I answered this, Greta. Basically, you'd have to contact our exams department, as there might be a fee that you incur as the registration deadline has passed. So if you just contact them, they'll be able to advise.
Is that drama assessment? So get in touch with them and they can...
No, it's the exams.
The exams officers team.
The exams, sorry.
They deal with the administration. Yeah, no worries.
Thank you, Saron. Thank you, Sam. And thank you to all of you for joining us today. We appreciate your patience, and we hope that this is a smooth ride from now on in terms of you using this platform. Have wonderful, relaxing, energising Easter holidays, and we will see you all soon. So thank you very much. Thank you. Have good evenings.
Bye.